In our previous video, we talked about the most compelling evidence for undiscovered pyramids, including those that are submerged, buried, or man-made. In this follow-up episode, we'll be answering another viewer request and addressing the question, what do we know about hidden pyramids? Let's explore. Hidden chambers and secret passageways are among the most popular discoveries made in recent years inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. A series of strange voids were found inside the ancient structure using advanced scanning equipment. One void in particular has been named the Hidden King's Chamber after researchers realized it was big enough to house a human body. It's located right above the Queen's Chamber, sealed off by 8-ton granite slabs. This may mean that it was used as an early burial chamber for whoever commissioned the construction of the pyramid, perhaps as a placeholder while his final resting place was prepared further up in the pyramid. There's also the controversial Big Void, which was found in 2017 using non-invasive radar techniques. Some researchers claimed that this void, which is about 100 feet long, may be a tunnel leading to an undisclosed location. However, other experts argued that it's simply an air pocket caused by natural erosion. We may never know for sure what the Big Void is, though, because efforts to further investigate the area using drilling equipment were blocked by Egyptian authorities. While it's possible that there are undiscovered chambers and tunnels within the Great Pyramid, it's even more likely that its famous neighbor contains hidden passageways. Khufu's pyramid has many strange features, including narrow vertical shafts that make up about 10% of its total volume. These are called relieving chambers, or shafts, and they're about 6 inches wide, just big enough for a small person to crawl through. Researchers don't know exactly how many there are since they haven't explored all of them yet, but they are found all over the interior of the pyramid, from the bottom to the top. Many of these shafts lead to small rooms, but it's not clear what purpose they served. Some believe they were designed to help with ventilation, while others think they may have had a religious or astronomical function. They could have also been used to transport people or objects quickly from one part of the pyramid to another. But if they were used for ventilation, why weren't windows cut into the outer casing stones? Even the biggest of these passages is only about a foot high, so they wouldn't have allowed much airflow, especially considering that the ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaohs were divine and didn't need to breathe like regular humans anyway. However, this idea was later disproven. When scientists scanned the pyramid using infrared cameras, they found that the shafts do not lead outside the pyramid, but instead connect to a series of small chambers. Most of these are empty, but some contain broken pieces of wood, stone, and other materials, suggesting that they were used as storage rooms for building materials and other items needed to construct the pyramid. Others argue that they were used to store sacred objects or mummies, while still others think that they were used to hold prisoners who were sacrificed during the construction of the pyramid. However, there is no evidence to support any of these theories, and the true purpose of the shafts remains unknown. Someday, perhaps explorers will be able to shed light on this mystery when they dare to crawl through the small openings and see where they lead. Speaking of crawling, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, back to our Great Pyramid mystery. Another hidden feature of Khufu's pyramid is a series of holes drilled into the bedrock below the structure. They were first spotted using ground-penetrating radar in 2008, but it wasn't until recently that researchers were able to descend into the shaft and take a closer look. What they found was a series of tunnels and chambers that may have been used for burial purposes. However, it's unclear whether they were used before, during, or after the construction of the pyramid. The tunnels are about 4 feet wide and 12 feet deep, and they contain several shafts that lead to the surface. Some of the shafts have ladders carved into the sides, which suggests that they were used regularly by someone. Other shafts are too narrow for a person to climb, but they may have been used to lower objects or bodies into the depths. Researchers aren't sure why anyone would want to bury things underground, especially considering that the area around Cairo was full of necropolis at the time. But it's possible that the bedrock chambers were used as a dumping ground for construction debris or animal remains. Alternatively, they could have been used to hide valuable objects during times of war or invasion. But what about hidden pyramids? As it turns out, the Giza Plateau may contain more than just 3 large pyramids and a few smaller ones. Using radar scans, researchers identified dozens of possible anomalies below the surface of the desert sands. Some of these are natural formations, but others appear to be man-made. In fact, some researchers even claim to have found a second hidden city beneath the pyramids, complete with streets, buildings, and other structures. According to the researchers, the discovery was made using data collected by the Scan Pyramids project, which used non-invasive technologies such as magnetic resonance imaging or MRI to peer inside the pyramids without damaging them. They say that they found a network of deep shafts and columns that connect the different pyramids and other structures on the plateau. They believe that these shafts may have been used to transport people or objects from one place to another, or they could have served as ventilation shafts to keep the structures cool. But other experts have criticized their methods and questioned their findings. For example, Dr. Zahi Hawass, a well-known Egyptian archaeologist, says that current technology cannot confirm the existence of structures thousands of feet underground. He believes that more research is needed before we can say for sure what's down there. Of course, he might just be saying that so no one goes down there and accidentally damages something important. After all, these shafts are very dangerous, and it would be easy to cause irreversible damage if someone were to try exploring them. Not to mention the fact that it's illegal to dig on the Giza Plateau without a permit from the Egyptian government. So, until we get the green light from the authorities, we may never know for sure what's hidden beneath the pyramids of Giza. Some hidden features of the pyramids are more obvious than others. For example, the precise alignment of the Great Pyramid with certain stars and constellations has been known for centuries. The ancient Egyptians were very interested in astronomy, and they used the stars to help them navigate and build things like the pyramids. In fact, some people believe that the pyramids were actually built as giant calendars to keep track of the seasons, or that they were used as tools to predict when the next solar eclipse would occur. The interior geometry of the pyramids is also quite interesting, and it's possible that there are hidden messages encoded in the dimensions of these structures. For example, some researchers believe that the ratio of the Great Pyramid's height to its base length is related to the value of pi. Others believe that the angles of the pyramid's sides correspond to certain frequencies or vibrations that can be felt inside the structure. While it's fun to speculate about what these alignments and ratios could mean, it's important to remember that there is no solid evidence to support any of these theories. It's also worth noting that the ancient Egyptians were very superstitious people, and they believed that certain numbers and shapes had magical properties. For example, they believed that the number 3 represented fertility, and that triangles were powerful symbols of spiritual energy. It's possible that these beliefs influenced the way they built the pyramids and other structures. What do you think? Are there any other hidden pyramids that we didn't mention in this video? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Thanks for watching.